welcome back to Sagas of Sundry Quests and Answers, the talkback show where we take you inside the latest episode of Goblin Mode. Folks, we're going to break down episode 2 in all of its glory, all of its combat, all of its rigors, all of its triumphs and failures. There's so much to discuss, but with that said, if you haven't seen the latest episode of Goblin Mode yet, I don't know how you landed here, but beware, because spoilers are ahead, and there's no resistance to those. So that's your warning. Let's get into it. Folks, I am so thrilled to talk about the latest episode of Goblin Mode. I'm Dan Casey, and I'm joined, as always, by my fellow compatriots,
Danielle Radford,
Amy Vorpahl,
Jason Nguyen.
All right, folks, this was an awesome episode. Definitely, I was not expecting things to be as explosive or perhaps as poisonous as they wound up being.
Yes, that was so insane. I challenge. Oh my gosh, it is one of the biggest challenges to create a cinematic combat encounter for 3 first-level characters. I challenge any dungeon master to do that because level 1, you're just extremely squishy, even with aid at the beginning. Even with aid, how many hit points were you down?
I got down to 4, so I was 4 hit points left.
Oh my gosh! Like there were so many excuses or like ways that I kind of stuck in there. Like, oh, maybe this wouldn't be as painful or dangerous or damage dealing or number go downy if you figured this out. And one of them that I was so excited about was when I was like, well, you haven't thought of this yet, but let me just see if you just know this off the top of your head, and I want to reward this if you do, which was, like, can you tell me what you're immune to as skeletons?
and I'm a little teacher's pet, so I said I sure can,
That was
Amy.
so fun. That was so fun and dumb for me. Like but I love it because I'm deep into your character sheets too, and so it's like, you know, I knew that 2 out of 3 of you, even if these spores burst, you'd be fine. But I wanted to see if, you as characters and players would know that too.
Yeah, I mean, I was worried because I figured we might be fine from the poison, but I wasn't sure if there's going to be like any sort of like, you mentioned methane when we were talking about it, and that to me made me think of like, is this going to be combustible fire explosion? That's why I was worried when I used burning hands at one point. Am I going to actually create a chain reaction of poison bombs?
It's so hard to say things. I mean, y'all are all dungeon masters too, but it's hard to say things that are descriptive that don't say gas spore. You know, like you don't say the actual monster's name, but
well, I thought from your initial description, I was like thrilled when it wound up being something different, because I thought like it was like gestating on these corpses, and it was going to form like myconids or something. Like, as like another potential threat. I'm like, this fungus is going to take over Unzug's lair.
It has that. It does. I mean, like that monster. The monster's crazy because it's like 0. It's like 1 hit point. Like if you hit it, it's like, I'm gonna explode. You know, like it wants to explode. But then the damage it can potentially do, which is kill you, is wild. But it had to go in there.
Without aid, I would not have been. I would have been single hit points, because that put me to 11 hit points total, because I normally I only have 8.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Oh yeah, and then you stepped forward. You're like, I'm just gonna take 5 steps forward, and the little robots were like, yeah, you'll do.
No, but that's the nice thing. Is like it like you said, it's challenging to create something that feels cinematic and dangerous for these characters, and we want to do stuff that is exciting. I don't want to just like sit back there and be like, magic missile, magic missile, magic missile.
Right.
I'm just trying to think like, what would Phibbs think? Like, okay, he'd probably try to think, maybe I need a better angle. That's why I missed my attempt to get the ring with my mage hand.
Yes, and we saw a little bit of what Ronnie could do as your unseen servant.
Ronnie. Yeah, and Ronnie like came through. Like MVP Ronnie. See, this is why you keep your girls around you, no matter what happens. So yeah, having Ronnie come in and do that, and then me, so dumb, I had already prepped for my next turn. I was gonna put the rings on, and I got like bitch slapped by a robot, and I was like, well, now I have to fight this robot. Who you think you is? You can go fight me. And forgot to put my rings on until after I was like, oh, right, fine. I 100% have the thing in my hand. That was the whole purpose of my move.
love that,
But then I
though.
got hit, and I was like, just saw red and was like, oh, I must fight. I'm a fight.
I love that. It was such like an honest response. If like a Rock'em Sock'em robot's just up in your face, to be like, absolutely not. This is no time for jewelry.
Yeah,
I must fight this
I
robot.
must fight the robot.
That's amazing. I know. And then, yeah, like I will say, even in these first 2 episodes, I'm kind of going like, oh my gosh, I've given you guys a lot of magic items. That historically has come back to bite me in the ass. So I know what I'm doing, kind of, but you are well within your rights to subvert any plans at this point.
I mean, I think we mostly just took them out of spite.
Yes.
I love that they do something. I love that they might actually wind up doing something, but mostly it was just like, no, you stay here.
It's just our petty way of being like, we're locking you in. Like, you're kicking us out where we're locking you in.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a feeling this group is not going to use any magic item as it was intended.
No.
I'm sure I don't know why you had the meld into earth spell.
Because I found it previously because of your buddy Maxwell.
Yeah.
I found it just,
Rest
he
in peace.
dropped a bunch of items. R.I.P.
Yes.
We
King.
have to talk
RIP.
about mold earth being used as a shield against the burst, because just the way I was envisioning it, it's actually pretty tragic. And like I will say from behind here, I was so in favor of that being used so creatively, and then you come in with, but I'm hyperventilating and I'm panicking and do I suffocate? And it's like, honestly, there would be some disadvantage to Tippy's personality, just as he is, trying to get away and having this burst in front of him.
Look, Tippy is paranoid at best. Like that's like the easiest, probably simplest way to describe his personality. So just like in the middle of, having a heroic moment and then just being attacked by like an elemental, Tippy was gonna run for his life, and as he was running for his life, he sees his friend, and then his friend turns and like buries him underground into like a sand
he's like running
dirt
with
coffin.
it, like, hey, I'm gonna
Let's go!
And then his friend's like,
Because you're running by the blast radius of the murder balloon. I had to do something.
True. Not against it, but I feel like, I feel like if I was playing a typical like hero, I would totally be like, of course, I bravely like I'm in this
accept this tomb that I'm in.
This dirt tomb, and I'm going to hold my breath for forever. And I feel like Tippy's a nervous goblin. He wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
He's gonna freak
Kate
out.
Blanchett in Avatar 2: The Way of Water.
Yeah, he's gonna lose his mind. And luckily, at the end of the day, that did save Tippy's life, because I would have taken double damage from that poison. It would have. I think.
Yeah, we would have taken more. I did like offering resistance, just because it was like, well, that certainly did something. That was actually a really creative way to solve a problem that I wanted to honor. But then you definitely needed to roll the save with disadvantage for sure.
For sure.
I was just really, like I said, I was envisioning like Gaara in like Naruto,
I
just
totally
creating
saw
like
it.
a sand tomb, but like
Perfect.
unlike that, which is like impermeable, this is just. When I was reading the description of mold earth, it's like you just you pick up and mold all of this loose earth. Keyword being loose, so I'm like, I hope this will work, but it's definitely going to be permeable. But I like the resistance touch. I think that was a nice one, and I also just liked all the weird little additions outside of Unzug's lair. Like I loved the wall.
Love the wall.
Yeah, wall monster.
Kind wall.
Jellenthor.
Jellenthor.
Jellenthor, I mean, it was like, I want to include, we already have some classic D&D monsters, and I've never seen a monster like that, but it is a monster.
No,
like a wall, a thing, and it almost like, as long as there's a wall there, it can operate, and it is tangible in some way.
There are wall monsters in 2 of my all-time favorite games. There's some in Monster Rancher you can generate, and there's that one boss in the Ancient Temple in Final Fantasy VII.
Yes,
So
yes.
I appreciated
And
it.
it made sense to me to make it a spellcaster, because we have all these other monsters that, the Mimic and the Grell,
Right.
they're just kind of like attack beasts, like they are number go downy beasts. And so to have like a wall monster that is sentient and almost like a ghost, like able to travel around just as long as there is something a flat surface. I was thinking it could even come to the ground, like. But to have hands and have like lay on hands type spells and like be like almost a cleric character.
I feel bad because like it's in a non-evil world. Like a minions union sounds dope. Like it just sucks that it's like the wrong people that are in charge of it because I'm like for like even with them being sucky, we're still like, look, we're not scamming, we're still pro-union. We just don't like your leadership. No, we are still
like deep problems with Deb and Mimsy.
Oh yeah, they're toxic as hell. And like part of me, like even doing this, I'm like, what message am I sending? But it's Fiends United and look, I did know what I was doing with the FU version of it. And
they've made that perfectly clear to us.
Yeah, it's just too fun.
Obvious.
It's just too fun. But no, very pro-union. I am part of a union.
Oh,
He does say that. It was just too fun to be like, well, what could get these level 1 characters out? Honestly, it was like a plot point to get you all out into the world, and we'll see where you go.
I thought that poisoning Tippy was also like engineered to be like, okay, well now you have to go find a cure.
To be fair, you're still poisoned.
For sure.
In your condition. So
but now you can live for longer than 12 hours.
And what a scary thing to be told as a player. Like,
by the way, I know it's session 2, but you're going to die in 12 hours.
Yeah. 12 hours. Like
how many episodes do we have?
Also, like mechanics are so much like, and those are the hours. Okay, great. You kind of get the feeling that you will die in 12 hours.
Yeah, it's like, oh, did I put in the tape from the ring somehow?
12 hours.
I forgot to tell you my spellbook doubles as a death note.
No.
Yes. Well, any other thoughts on the union or like where you think the characters will what they'll do about the union?
I just want what would Gillenlord?
Jellenthor?
Jellenthor. Jellenthor for Jellenthor. I want Jellenthor in charge of the union.
Wow.
Yes. That's what I want.
We're all for Jellenthor.
Look, the union's already about many hands making everything good, and he comes with many hands. So this is just it just
they could
makes
change
sense.
the whole logo slogan from "F you, we love it here."
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with the slogan. I think the slogan's perfect.
Keep the slogan. We love it here.
Yeah. See, I'm just intrigued to see what happens if we find Unzug out there. What we find if we make it to Nakbreka and like learn more about this union, because they clearly had some inside information about these Gallantlings. Like they clearly seemed like they knew what the score was. That seems like someone's gonna knock off Unzug. How did these guys know the exact right time to show up? So I'm excited for us to uncover this larger conspiracy that seems to be a brewing.
Y'all came what 10 minutes after them dudes left?
You're still here.
That's convenient.
And alive.
And you're with someone who would know where all of the traps are, who knows where everything is. Mm-hmm. We see you.
Well, the thing that I think Tippy's also fixating on is like there's more than one evil lord. Like we were told that he's like the only one, right? So it's like crazy.
Yeah, we took all powerful as scripture.
Yeah. So it's like crazy to know that there's like, there's other monsters, other evil lords, other dungeons, and so.
Yeah, what's fun as a dungeon master, I think I said it already, but it is like you are all babies to this world, so you're learning what the scope of it is along with the audience, and it's really cool. It's really cool to like parse out this information and for like, because I've been living in this for a little while, so it's like, that's new information. You're going to be suspicious of that. That's actually really fun for me to like get that feedback in real time, going like, okay, we get to play. Which I do know my fatal flaw as a dungeon master is no poker face, like zero poker face. So. I get delighted pretty easily, and I get flummoxed easily too. You might be able to see sometimes. I'm like,
I don't think you have to worry about that because I think this is such a unique team dynamic that I'm like, I literally can't predict what anybody's gonna do. Like,
can we give it up? Speaking of not predicting, can we give it up for Fibs taking a second to do a magical boy transformation and become the baddest bitch?
Yes. Fibs we didn't even talk about that. That was gonna. I was like, like, wait, what? Okay,
I'm gonna do a makeover. I will be right back.
Yeah,
I
and then
thought I was gonna have time for that in episode 1, and then it didn't happen. And I was like,
No.
"Oh, I can't
You're like
leave.
mid-run, and
I
then you're
can't
like,
leave."
I gotta get
I
my
gave very
move.
specific notes when we were asked about our characters. There's gonna be artwork, and it has to match that.
right. Well, no, I mean, because Deb failed her intelligence. I was like, oh yeah, minor illusion intelligence, but she failed it, and thank God Mimsy didn't. But it was like, well, believably, like if y'all haven't seen Unzug up close, would Mimsy have seen Unzug that up close? But yeah, it turns out that worked
just
out great.
Grateful that I also had time to get my sweet wizard digs. I just wanted to get my sick threads. I couldn't leave
Oh, that
my
was so
fantastic
cool.
hat behind.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's what I was like. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. You became a bad bitch. We had to stop. You can put on like your
It was a
wizard
bad bitch
robe and
break.
hat.
I also
And your quick weave.
It did give the like story point of like you union guys have some people to torture down there. Like you got some jobs to do.
That was great. I just
Oh,
loved
and you're
I
getting-
loved our
getting
careful
the Yelp
consideration.
review.
Your exit
That was a
interview
great
with
character
the
moment,
person
yeah.
on the torture rack.
Exit.
Oh my God.
When you do it, if you want to do a proper exit interview, you don't want to just talk to the people above you. You want to talk to the people that worked for you as well. And so I thought it was very important that we get these, I guess, secret shoppers to come and talk about the genuine experience that they had while in our dungeon.
Yeah.
How else are we going to improve? How else do we improve?
But I
Exactly.
also love that you were like, yeah, apparently I'm not the one on watch anymore, so I'm not gonna torture you or help you or make any decisions at all for you anymore. Like,
can't.
yeah, we're done. But
We do not scab. We do respect the union.
We considered their offer, realized we did not understand the offer,
Do not
and
hold
then
us.
remembered our morals.
that's it. Oh my gosh.
Look, if nothing else, we have our principles, but I'm just excited to see how those principles are challenged by the wider world. One thing that really struck me was during your incredible description of like us gazing out over the desolation, there was a lighting change that happened as well, where it's like, oh,
Yeah.
we're not in
Yeah.
Unzug's lair anymore. We're outside. We're outside of the Plato cave allegory that we've lived in our whole lives.
That's
Yeah.
right. We outside.
We out here.
outside.
We out here.
We out here.
It is really cool to think that like, yeah, even as level 1, you are still more advanced and actually heroic than more like than a common person or even a common monster. Like you do have, like even, I mean, yeah, Mold Earth is a crazy powerful spell, even if you got off a spell scroll. The fact that you can even cast that is unheard of for real, like in just generic terms. So the fact that, yeah, you're out and you do have like new agency, it just opens the world to possibilities. I wonder what y'all will do with it. There are a few paths that you could take, and I'm gonna do my best not to railroad you into any one of them, but it is.
But
It is
only
really
one
cool.
of them leads to curing your poison.
True, and that's the one I want to take.
Yeah, poison is a horrible condition.
It's the worst one, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, disadvantage all the time.
Yeah.
One of the things I did to prepare, like one of the things that I always do to prepare as a dungeon master is do flashcards for conditions.
Oh, that's smart.
Conditions
Yeah,
are
that's smart.
nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like 15
and they pop
of
up when
them.
you least expect them as well.
Yeah, and then you're like, and then what? Like, how do you what? Like, and they can overlap. You know, like incapacitated and stunned are kind of similar. And I hate to say that they get me, but man, they do. They get me.
Yeah.
But poison is one of those that's like poison and exhausted. It's like God.
Well, at least we're not like immune to too many of them. Like I feel like when people are playing elves and stuff like that, they're immune to like half of the conditions.
Oh,
of,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Can't
Like
be
you-
magically charmed,
or
or I guess it's
sleep.
like is it resistance or I don't even
Yeah.
remember at this point.
Oh, and anything that puts them to sleep, they just don't. It's like, no, because we don't. We just meditate. We don't sleep.
Right.
I just think about my day.
Yeah. No, but I did on purpose put a big old poison daddy in there because I knew that 2 out of 3 of y'all
Yeah.
were friggin' immune, and you're level 1, and at least 2 of you aren't gonna die.
I was
Oh, cool.
really
Yeah.
tempted, really tempted to like punctuate that final moment.
Yeah.
By having
Oh, no.
my mage hand just poke the other balloon.
Yeah, on the way out.
Oh, I would have loved
awesome.
it. I would have loved it. What restraint you showed.
I was like, this is too nice of a moment.
Right.
So what restraint? I made a dumbass joke about having more bones.
I know. I was like, oh no, we can't just give characters more bones. like in the fantasy world, even in the fantasy world, my logic's going, wait, metaphorically, right?
It's a reverse Marilyn Manson. I have more bones
More
now.
bones, yeah.
I love in games like this where it's like, okay, mechanics, logic, there's math and stuff. And so your logic brain turns in, and then you realize, hello, we're in fantasy land. Like, the world's your oyster. Welcome to Pee-wee's Playhouse. But we can't just have everyone running off with +5 stuff.
Well,
we could. I mean,
we shouldn't.
Yeah, we shouldn't.
Right. There will be consequences.
Yeah, but one thing I do like is that we are even though we've leveled up, which is super cool. I'm excited to see what additional spells this adds to my arsenal, but we're still a relatively squishy bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all have chosen classes that are just freaking,
No one expects 3 glass cannons.
Wizard, Artificer, Bard, y'all. Which I know in the character creation, I kind of encourage. I was like, play what you think is fun, and then also you're like,
To me, it's just going to mean that we have to get more creative with how we solve solutions. Like both Danielle and I have taken disguise self. I think because we know that it's going to be an important part of our toolkit.
Yes, it's going to be really cool.
Like we can't just be like 2 skellies and a goblin like rolling through regular towns. And that might not be something that they know now, but I feel like that could be something that they would.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That's it's going to be really exciting to see.
I'm also excited to see what Tippy knows of the outside world that we don't, because we're gonna be like looking to you for
we know
untapped wisdom.
Yes. Tippy has lived outside of this dungeon at one point.
That's true.
That's right.
I think I said at the end of the episode for your whole lives, but you've lived a life. You've been,
because Tippy was subjugated, right? Tippy,
you were,
lost the war, and
we think of it as recruited.
Well, okay,
you were
one person's subjugation, the other person's recruitment.
Yeah, but you were working. That's where you got any version of technical hardware skills. At all.
But it's been a long time, and I don't think Tippy. I think even when Tippy did know the world, he didn't really know the world.
No, you were young, and even now you're kind of just coming of age as a goblin.
Exactly.
Which I think you're in real years like 9 or 10.
Yeah,
but
so
in Goblin years,
it's like 18.
18.
Yeah, just turned 18. Yeah, so Tippy is fresh to the world and to adulthood.
My first day in the world and I get poisoned.
And so sweating and scared makes a lot of
He's
sense right
sweating,
now.
he got poisoned, he learned about, what was the thing?
Claustrophobia?
Well, claustrophobia. what was the ghost's ability?
True love? Did he just
True love.
learn about true
merging?
love?
Yeah, merging or inhibiting.
Inhabiting.
Inhabiting. He learned a lot about inhabiting.
So did I, as I was saying.
There's a reason that Ray Parker Jr. famously sang, "Bustin' makes me feel good."
Right. And that's what Tippy wants, ultimately,
Yeah.
To feel good.
I do love that moment. This isn't from this episode, but where you were like, you just gave away the information. Like, what if I gave you the answer to true love? Anyway, it's this. And then I had to be like, well, I'm not giving you anything in return. You just gave it to me. You're like, wait, did I?
That was a legitimate, that was
amazing.
I don't know, that was where the lines were blurred, whether it was Tippy or just me really being a horrible negotiator.
Fantastic.
Oh, look, when in doubt, I think choosing chaos is always a viable path forward.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah, just throw a wrench into the works. Well, I am very excited to see where our paths lead next. I think that, like you mentioned, Amy, there are so many different ways this could go. And I'm crippled by the choice before me. It's like when you're looking at a diner menu and there's too many things on there. But I'm excited to see which ones lead to waffles, which one leads to certain death, and which one leads to maybe Unzug.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Hey.
Awesome. Well, folks, thank you so much for watching. There's going to be even more Sagas of Sundry Goblin Mode coming your way each and every week. You can watch it on youtube.com/geekandsundry or wherever fine podcasts are served. Thank you again, and we'll see you next time.